Hey guys, I moved inside because my phone overheated. So Jennifer and Galindo and I were in the middle of a live talking about her road to success. If you're hanging in there with us, thank you. And we'll hopefully just pick up from where we left off. And my phone should be okay now that I'm inside and the air conditioning. So we will see. Um, as soon as I see Jennifer pop on here, I'll bring her back on. And I don't see anybody, so I'm not quite sure. I hope my phone is working. Oh, there's somebody. Okay, so as soon as Jennifer notices that we're back, I'll bring her back on here and we can pick up from where we left off. There she is. Hi, Jennifer. So sorry. Hey.
Hello.
All right, I moved inside, so hopefully my phone is okay. We were just saying, everybody, it's past 7 o'clock at night here, and it's still almost 100 degrees. So my phone overheated right in the middle of you speaking, Jennifer. So sorry.
Well, nothing like starting over, right?
Nothing like starting over. So, you know what, guys? We were talking
Hi,
about
Carolyn.
Jennifer's road to success. She has an amazing story. She's been through many things within her career and her personal life that has got to her to where she is now. The strong, independent, wonderful person that I have come to know. And she is sharing with us her wisdom, what led her to where she is now, how she attained success, and how she overcame different obstacles that happened throughout her life, as I'm sure most of us watching can resonate with. So Jennifer, I'll let you go ahead and you can start from the beginning if you'd like, or you could pick up where we left off. It's totally up to you.
All right. Well, I think it would be a good idea if I went to the questions that you asked.
Yes.
And I'll just kind of start running my mouth again. And then you can feel free to interrupt or ask or whatever.
Sounds good.
So the I think it's really kind of you to say that I'm a successful person. It's kind of funny to think of myself as a successful person.
Absolutely.
Hi, Sarah. I think one of the things that is really kind of fun about this is I am successful, and it feels funny to say that, but it also, it's not something I should be ashamed of. It's something about which I should be proud. And so that's okay. So yes. Thank you. So when we started a few minutes ago, I was talking about how, it's been 3 decades since I graduated from college and became a grown-up. And I have to be honest, I never had any aspirations to be a professional woman. I did not ever expect to be a teacher. If there was ever anything I hated, it was school. So it's kind of funny to see my life's journey come this way. So one of the questions that you asked was, what were some of the pivotal moments in my life? Hi, Karen. And I wanted to say the first and most important thing that really changed my life and what I thought was happening to me happened when I was 20 years old. And it was a horrible tragedy. My best friend in college was struck by a train and killed. And my entire life just fell apart. Nothing had ever really gone wrong in my life. Nothing ever real happened to me until that happened. And all of a sudden, it completely changed how I saw life. Like, wait a minute. Everything's not going to be okay. Everything's not going to be hunky-dory. Everything's not going to be magical for me. I have to make my life happen for myself. And so I spent my very last year in college kind of just trying to get finished. Just get out. Just move on and make some changes. And so even though I'd never really planned on doing anything, uh, all of a sudden I found myself with a degree, and I found myself uh, being offered jobs in the insurance industry because my grandmother had been an insurance broker and I'd worked in her business while I was going to college. And all of a sudden, there I was, somebody out of college with some experience doing something, which I never thought anybody would care. So I had all these friends who were really driven, who wanted to be architects and engineers and instructors and attorneys. And I was kind of the first of all of them to have a company car and a suit and employees. And all of a sudden, I had this um, really successful career working in an insurance corporation. And there I was, 22 years old and in charge, which was weird. And I looked like I was 13 years old, so it was kind of funny, going to work in my power suit and my ponytail and feeling like I look like a teenager. But um, those experiences and kind of growing up as I was growing up, it was kind of funny to be in charge and to be selected and to be respected by people who were twice my age and who were successful in business. And it was really challenging for me because I had this ability to remember everything and teach others. And what I didn't have the ability to do and to understand was I didn't understand jealousy. I never understood why people didn't build each other up. I never understood why people competed with each other instead of working together. And so that made things really hard for me when I was first working in the insurance business, because insurance is a very interesting game. It's all a gamble. And understanding how to write insurance policies and understanding how to sell them and understanding how to get agents to be successful wasn't something that I ever thought I was going to be doing with my life. And then all of a sudden it became my entire life, just working, 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 working. And all of a sudden, then I started chasing the money. And then I started chasing the success. And then I started chasing um, how to compare myself to others. And because I worked for an insurance company that was national in focus, I would get sent off to our home office and I would compete with other people. And it was really kind of funny. The more I did it, the more I learned I hate competing.
Right.
Not that I'm not a competitive person and not that I don't like to win, because I love to win. Mm-hmm. But what I didn't like doing was tearing other people down to build myself up. And so it didn't take long. It only took 8 years for me to figure out, what am I doing with my life? Why am I spending all this time, worrying about which handbag I have or who handmade my shoes or which outfit I was going to wear to which luncheon meeting? The whole thing just became so silly. And so it was a big change for me all of a sudden to realize I was not made to chase a dollar. Mm-hmm. I was made to build capacity in others. And so all of a sudden at the age of 29, I just stopped and I went back to college and I got my teaching credential. And within 3 months, all of a sudden I went from being somebody who was a, company card driving, suit wearing, briefcase carrying professional woman to somebody who was a 6th grade math and science teacher. Surprise!
Yeah.
And there I was at school, which I hated, and I was at a junior high, which it was funny. People would say to me, "How did you end up leaving, this hugely successful territory and profit sharing, and how did you end up being a teacher and being a 6th grade math teacher? Who cares?" And so I think that was a big challenge, was realizing everything that I ever thought I wanted, I didn't. And everything I did want, I didn't really know how to get. Um, so I wanted to throw that out there.
So, Jennifer,
And
how it must have been a really difficult decision for you to just drop this career that you worked very hard for and you were successful in to go back to school, which you didn't like school. So that in itself was a challenge. And then also switching careers, you know, at 29 years old, what kind of awoken you to say, I'm just going to go for it and I'm just going to do this because this deserves my time and I only have one life to live, so this is what I'm going to do with my life. What happened to make that shift?
well, it's kind of funny. I was kind of going through a lot of drama at work because there was always all this competition, and my territory was just luckily super successful, the best in the company. And I had all these people that were always wanting to fight about it, and I was always making these great profit sharing bonuses, and I had a lot of success, but everything about it was just unhappy all the time. It was always, oh, I only made 3.2% this month. I really need to make 3.6. And, you would find yourself just getting stuck into complaining about everything in your life. And so this one night, I went to bed and I had a dream, and it was a nightmare. And the nightmare was really simple. It was about a new product that we were selling. It was called Home Replacement Guarantee. And it only cost $5 per policy. And it was a way that we were going to make an extra $50-60 million a year selling all of these products. And because it was only $5, we were going to be able to sell to everybody. It was going to be this great thing. And I had a dream that I died and went to hell. And when I got there, the devil said to me, all right, well, congratulations at being so successful pursuing money. You didn't really ever seek to do that, but you became very good at it. And we really need you to push this forward. And I remember thinking to myself, you've got to be kidding me. I'm not a bad person. What do you mean? I'm not materialistic, and I'm not. Anyway, when I awakened in the morning, I was shocked. I remember looking in the mirror at myself, and I was holding my toothbrush in my hand, and I was staring at myself, and I just felt like, what is happening to me? Who is this person? I don't want to pursue $5 from every person I know. And it's an easy way to fleece everybody, and it's another way I'm going to be able to buy a Lexus, and all of a sudden I just felt like I hate my job. I hate my life. I don't want to do this. And when I went to work that day, I told my boss that I had this weird dream, and she's like, oh, well, you should be a teacher. And I was just, what are you talking about? She said, yeah, I went and I volunteered in my niece and nephew's classroom last weekend. You would be a magnificent teacher. And I was just, have you lost your mind? How am I supposed to support myself? What does a teacher make? $30,000 a year? There's no way, whatever. I made that much last week, no way. And she just kept pushing at me, and I finally said, fine. I mean, I worked for an insurance company. We did all kinds of vocational assessments. And so I said, okay, I'll go in there, and if it says that I should be a teacher, I'll do it. And so I went through all these tests, and it said that I should be a private investigator or a teacher.
Wow.
So I knew I would never make it as a private investigator because I can't keep my mouth shut. But I decided to become a teacher, and I just went to Cal Poly and got my credential. And the next thing I knew, 3 months later, I was teaching. And it was one of my professors who hired me, and he became a superintendent in my district, and he became a mentor of mine, and just one thing led to another.
And
It was
what what did your family and friends think of this shift? Because I'm sure many of them were probably a little bit shocked. Here you are, very successful, have worked very hard towards your career, and you're going back to school to do something completely different at 30 years old. So, I mean, what kind of comments and feedback did you get from the people who were around you?
Well, that's a great question. Um, Almost everybody thought I was crazy, particularly the people that I was working with. They were just beside themselves, because not only was I in a position to just suddenly turn my back on everything, which I had completely dedicated my life to doing, but what that started doing was it started making people who were, lower than I was on the food chain feel like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? You can't leave. You're my mentor. What are you doing? How can you do that? And I think the other thing that was hard was a lot of people were saying things to me like, you're gonna, what about your 401k? What about your, all the education that you had gone through to work toward your CPCU? And, what do you, it would be kind of like somebody suddenly quitting medical school. It was just a completely different journey. And the other thing that really changed for me was I learned that my students needed somebody like me to be their teacher, because there wasn't somebody else like me. There wasn't somebody who hated school like I did who became a teacher. There wasn't somebody who respected them as human beings and people, even though they were 11 and 12 years old. And I learned so much about what kind of person I wanted to be from teaching those kids. And, even looking 20 years later, about what those students did for me, and seeing them now be in their early 30s. They're all about your age. My first group of students. And it's kind of funny to see them all of a sudden, having babies and starting careers and changing what they're doing. And every so often I'll get an email from somebody saying, oh my gosh, you'll never believe what I'm doing. I just went back to get my master's in education, or what. Some of these things that I never, ever thought that I would be able to do. Not only did I do them, but I'm mentoring them, and I'm looking at what they're doing and who they're becoming. And it was a huge, huge leap of faith. And I cannot tell you what made me strong enough or confident enough to do it, because I didn't feel strong and confident, and I didn't feel sure of myself. All I knew was that I was not happy doing what I was doing, and that I wasn't meant to do what I was doing, and I needed to change. And so I just kind of took a deep breath and jumped, and I never looked back.
I love your story so much. I shared with everybody that we met in college, and it's crazy to me to think that you didn't like school, because oh my gosh, you are so good at it. It's blowing my mind sitting next to you in class. But I love your story, because you were successful, you had a great career, and you had some of that pushback from people from the outside looking in, like we were talking about previously before my phone overheated, and you still went forward. You knew in your heart that you weren't in the place that you were supposed to be, and you knew that there was something calling you to do something different, and you took that leap, and you had the strength to do it, even though there were so many people telling you, don't do that, you're crazy. You were strong enough to block out the noise, jump into this new career, struggle for a little bit because you didn't like going to school, and going back to college is never easy. Um, and look where you are now. So, do you regret any part of your decision whatsoever now, looking back?
Well, it's funny when I took the questions that you sent me, Dan printed them for me and he brought them down to me and he handed them to me and he said,
Uh,
if she asks, say number 4. It said, if you had to do it all over again, would you change anything?
yeah.
And one thing that we both agree, oh my gosh, if we had to do it again, we would not have wasted any time doing any of the things that other people tried to make important for us.
Yes.
We would do the things that mattered to us and that we knew had value. And one of the things that it's kind of funny looking at where we are now. I mean, he's been a teacher for more than 20 years, and we've had so many jobs in education.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband has worked at the district office level. He's worked as a site principal, site administrator, technology trainer. He's worked in the office of assessment. All of these things that you pursue and you want to do. One of the things that we always come back to, and we talk about it over and over all the time, is it does not matter what job you're doing in education. It's always about student learning.
Mm-hmm.
It does not matter if you're driving a bus or mowing a lawn or superintendent, or it doesn't matter. There are only 2 jobs in education: the people who provide instruction and the people who support the people who provide instruction.
Right.
And so looking back and looking at everything and thinking, okay, what can I continue to do with these 10 or 15 more years that I still have to go? How can I continue to make people glad about what they're learning and see that what they're doing is important, and that everybody working together brings something to the table and changes people's lives in a positive way? That is the only thing that I would change. So I would go back in time as far as I could and never waste a minute pursuing ambition or money or anything that disconnected me from doing something that was truly important for somebody else.
And would you agree that because you were strong enough to step outside of your comfort zone, block out the noise, go forward in a different career, you were able to reach and impact so many people because you did that? I was a teacher before, and many people watching this know that now I am a network marketing professional. And so I'm teaching on a global scale. And instead of teaching math and science and language arts and all reading and all the things that I love to teach still and still teach my little ones, I'm teaching business and how to create financial freedom and time freedom for families around the globe, so that they can enjoy the one life that they get to live. And that's something that is near and dear to my heart. And because I stepped outside of my comfort zone and left teaching, which I was successful in and loved teaching as a general concept, but maybe just not in that environment. Now I'm able to really feel fulfilled in what I'm doing. And because of that, find more happiness, more joy, and able to impact more people. And it sounds like from what you're saying, because some people could argue that in the insurance industry, of course, you were helping others. We can definitely argue that. But because you just didn't feel called to be there anymore. You felt called and compelled to do something else. So you did, and you're amazing, an amazing teacher. All of your students are so blessed to have you in their life. And I couldn't imagine if you wouldn't have transitioned careers into becoming a teacher, because you wouldn't have been able to impact all those many lives that you have.
Well, I think one of the things that you say that becomes clear over and over is you really have to learn to shut out the noise, whatever it is. You know, teaching, instructing, networking, all of these things are part of every career and every life. We're always learning something. I mean, you can learn a better way to butter a piece of toast to make breakfast, and you can learn a better way to feed the dog, and you can learn getting along with others, facilitating and helping others, and bringing out the best in each other is really what we're called to do as human beings. All of us have different jobs, and all of us eat, all of us sleep, all of us cry, all of us emote, all of us feel. But one of the things I think we need to learn to do better for each other is support each other. Like, we took the same classes and learned to get the same credentials, and we learned to do the same teaching. But every single person who's a teacher brings something unique to the teaching. Every single person who's a dentist brings something unique to the dental profession. Every single person who's a mom brings something unique to being a mom. And I think one of the things that I want to encourage everybody to do, no matter who they are, no matter what they want to be, every day is a different day. And every day you want to feel that you have contributed to the world in a positive way. Sometimes that means you kept your mouth shut that day. Sometimes, right? Sometimes it means you didn't speak your mind. Sometimes it means you did speak your mind. Sometimes it means you spoke for someone who couldn't. And I think one of the things that really speaks to me, and I really, you know, one of the questions that you printed for me was, what advice can I offer? Especially for somebody who's facing a time in their life where they feel like it's impossible to get to the other side. And I just want to say this, you know, like I mentioned at the beginning of our first go around today, I was involved in a truly horrible marriage and a really frightening, painful, harmful relationship. And I'm not blaming that all on somebody else. I'm not going to say it's nobody else's fault either. But I am going to say everybody goes through a period in their lives where one can feel like it's impossible, and there's too much pain, there's too much financial problem, there's too much physical ailment, there's too much emotional problems. And the only thing that will ever help anyone is to take one step in the right direction and be satisfied with that. Because if you're going to stay where you are, or worse, go in the wrong direction, you're never going to get where you need to be. But even if all you can do is advance one step every day, all of a sudden 10 years goes by and you're somewhere else that you didn't think you would ever be. And that's the thing. My husband and I just celebrated our 8th wedding anniversary, and we both had unsuccessful first go-rounds. But when we look at where we are now, and we looked at how hard we've worked to build the beautiful, happy family we have, and the love and the joy and the peace, the only way to do that is a tiny step at a time, every day, all the time. Never give up, never turn back, and never, ever think you can't have something that you deserve, because you can. Sometimes you might need to ask for help. Sometimes you might need to seek guidance. Sometimes you just need to be quiet within yourself and listen. But whatever it is, whatever you want, you can get it. And you get it one step at a time, one day at a time, day after day.
Exactly. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being you. I truly think you are one of the most genuine and positive people that I have ever met, and I thank you very much for sharing what I know was difficult for you to share publicly. So I appreciate you doing that, and I know others who will benefit from this advice and wisdom will thank you too. So thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you. I love being a part of your network, and whatever I can do to help anyone at any time, I'm here. I'm here for all y'all.
Well, we love you, and you have a good rest of your night.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.